language that we use when we talk to ourselves matters. In this video, we're going to talk about what to say when you talk to yourself. Hi, I'm Misty Smith. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, and I am here to help others find meaning, joy, and purpose in their lives. As a person-centered counselor, I believe in meeting people where they are and that we all have the capacity for self-healing. Sometimes we need a little guidance and support to get to where we want to be. Flawed thought patterns or cognitive distortions are patterns of thinking that get us stuck in unhelpful and unhealthy mindsets. While there are many flawed thought patterns in which we all engage at some point or another, in this video, I'm going to focus on two common cognitive distortions. These are should statements and yeah, but statements. This topic comes from the Cognitive Behavioral Model of Therapy, or CBT for short. In CBT, the primary concept is the way that we think impacts the way that we feel, and that in turn impacts our behavior. So why is this important? If the way that we think impacts our emotions, then the language that we use when we talk to ourselves can set the stage for how we feel about a given situation, how we regulate our responses to intense emotions, and how we interact with one another. First, I want to address should statements. When we use should, we are setting an expectation. When we fail to meet that expectation, we typically feel frustrated or disappointed. Let's look at some examples. If I were to say I should clean my house, I'm setting an expectation that my house is supposed to look a certain way, and yet it doesn't. So I've already failed to meet the expectation that I've set for myself. Let's try shifting the language. I could say something such as, I'd like to have a clean house, or I want to clean my home. Even if I don't enjoy the act of cleaning, chances are I know I will feel good about having a clean house. I will enjoy the benefits of being able to rest or relax in a clean space. And I'll feel a sense of accomplishment for having completed the task. When we use should statements for others, we are setting expectations for them that often set them up for failure, thereby setting ourselves up again for frustration and disappointment. Let's talk about what that might look like. If I were to say, you should respond to my messages immediately, I'm likely to feel annoyed or frustrated when I don't hear back from you right away. In reality, you may be busy, perhaps you didn't see the message, or you could be taking time to consider how you want to respond. If I were to say, you should cut your hair because I like it short, I'm setting an expectation that you are not likely to meet, thereby setting myself up for disappointment. And I'm communicating to you that what you're doing isn't good enough. Everyone loses in this scenario. Instead, I try to remind myself that just because you don't do things the way that I would have them done does not mean that your way is wrong. It does save me a lot of frustration, disappointment, and stress. Now, let's take a look at yeah, but statements. This concept comes from a combination of two cognitive distortions in the CBT model. These are filtering thoughts toward the negative and disqualifying the positive. When we use yeah, but, We tend to acknowledge the positive and then immediately dismiss or contradict it and focus on what is negative or unpleasant about the situation. Here's an example. If I were to say, the weather is beautiful today, you might say, yeah, but it's too windy. When in reality, both your statement and my statement can be true. It can be a beautiful day with a pleasant temperature and clear skies and be windy. One does not have to negate the other. However, when we use yeah, but, we tend to focus on what is unpleasant in the situation. So I'd like you to take note of how often you're using these thought patterns and try to see if you can redirect or soften the language that you use. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and I hope to share more tips with you soon.